Hi everyone, welcome back to another Reddit cheating story. Before we start, please hit the subscribe button and notification bell if you love to watch more cheating stories. I cheated on my husband. Turns out his revenge is much more than what I did. I, 26F, met my husband, 40M, when I was 19 and he was 33. When I met him, I had just moved out of my hometown where I had just spent the last year living in a trap house and frequently using drugs, and I wanted to get my life back on track. He had just gotten out of the military. Things seemed pretty good at first, but there were some red flags. With me being so young, I definitely wasn't super emotionally mature, and this would be the first actual relationship I was in. Looking back, I just really feel like I didn't know what I was doing. I had nothing to compare this to, and I wasn't ready to be in a long-term relationship. The things that stand out the most looking back as red flags include: he once trespassed in my friend's house who I was staying with, hiding behind furniture and spying on us to make sure I wasn't sleeping with my friend. I wasn't. He once made a very extensive list of things he didn't like about me. He would keep track of how many times he had suicidal thoughts. It was in the 300s, and he would throw it in my face and blame me for having those thoughts. Not something he did to me, but he told me a story about how he tried to get his kid put up for adoption just to spite his baby mama so she could never see him again. He also kind of always talked down to me, and he says he didn't mean it that way, and I don't necessarily think he did, but he always just kind of made me feel kind of dumb. After a few years I ended up joining the Navy and we got married. After my first deployment I came back, and it's hard to explain, but things just felt off. I didn't feel attracted to him anymore and really felt uncomfortable with any kind of intimacy or him touching me, but I figured I'd get over it and things would go back to normal. Eventually months and then years went by and I still had that same feeling. I didn't really feel comfortable telling him how I felt because usually when I said something was upsetting me he wouldn't really care, and plus I didn't want to hurt his feelings. He would often touch me, and it's hard to explain, but I would get the same sick feeling in my stomach that I can only compare to the same feeling I had when I had gotten raped once in the past. So I would either just clearly act uncomfortable, but he would keep touching me, or sometimes I would say I didn't want to be touched and he would sometimes continue, but sometimes he would stop. However, we went years without having sex and we would just kind of act like things were normal even though our marriage was extremely degraded, but I guess we both just didn't want to talk about it. These years were hard and I felt extremely depressed but kept it bottled up. I went on my next deployment, and at that point I had already decided I would ask for a divorce when I got home. I didn't plan on cheating, but since I already felt that my marriage was over, when someone made a move on me, I ended up starting an affair. I felt extremely guilty and admitted it to him after about a month. He said he forgave me. I stopped the affair for a while but eventually started it up again, and he said he was okay if I kept it going during deployment if I cut it off when I got back, and I told him if he wanted to sleep with someone else too, that was fine. When I got back, I still wanted a divorce, and I figured since I was trying to get divorced, why not keep the affair going? I kept asking for a divorce, but he kept saying no, that he wanted to stay married. I told him I still wanted to be friends and we could do it amicably. I told him I thought he deserved to be with someone that would be better for him than me. But he refused to sign papers. I felt completely trapped, and I used drugs a few times, while on leave and on long weekends, because I felt that that was the only thing that could make me feel any happiness. After a few months, my husband called the police and my command to report me for using, and revealed that he had been working with NCIS for months to build a case against me for using drugs. He had been collecting evidence, including going through my phone and taking secret videos of me. Now I am getting kicked out of the Navy after just getting promoted, and I was about to re-enlist and get a huge bonus. I won't be able to use the GI Bill, and it'll be hard to find a job. This has also ostracized me from my friends, so I am completely lonely and isolated, while he at least has friends and family for support. I guess it serves me right, but I just keep wondering why he couldn't just divorce me like a normal person and we could move on. TLDR, my marriage had been going very badly for years. I cheated on my husband and he turned me into the police and my job for using drugs. Here are some of the best comments from our community. Your situation sucks, but realistically you ruined your own career. Don't do drugs. Your husband is a great a-hole for snitching you out in such a sneaky way, but at the end of the day it was your decision to get back into doing drugs. Every action has consequences. That was yours. Okay, you really don't see what happened. He stayed and wanted to stay married because he had a plan to destroy your life, and you, instead of pushing for the divorce and moving out, decided to cheat and do drugs. You felt disgusted by him because you subconsciously saw he was a predator and he was using you because you were vulnerable. That's why he felt wrong, that's why you couldn't stand his touch. He was a predator just like the rapist who hurt you. He was just doing his hurting of you more subtle than being direct like the rapist. You have to stop saying he ruined your career. You did that. You made the choice to cheat, which that alone could have wrecked your career. Then you made it worse by getting back into drugs. Talk to your command, explain the situation. The whole situation starting from when you first met him. It's time you need to start being open about this and tell them about the abuse you have had to endure, to his mental and emotional abuse. You may be able to at least get the discharge changed from dishonorable. Please realize no one technically made you do it, but when people are in distress they tend to go to what is familiar. Good luck to you, and at least try to not fall back into the drugs and more work on healing you and building up your self-esteem and self-worth. Work on bettering your life in a positive way and learn from your mistakes on how to spot narcissist predators. Go no contact with him, and I do believe if they refuse to sign the papers there is a way to still force the divorce. He knew what he was doing. He didn't divorce you so he could get all the info and evidence while you were married. You found an excuse to use drugs. Extremely stupid. You should have wised up and been smarter and not do drugs or have an affair. Instead, you should have filed the divorce yourself even if he didn't sign the papers. You chose your own fate. Thank you for watching. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Remember to subscribe and hit the notification bell.